Hey, deep divers, ready for a deep dive? That's a real power play.
I'd say we're going for a hat trick today.
Love it. We're tackling Russian team sports.
From their glory days as a Cold War sports machine.
To today's playing field, and trust me, it's a whole new game. We're going deep on a fascinating piece from How to Russia.
Really digs into how things have changed.
Exactly. So, we all know the Soviet Union, they were a total force on the world stage, domination, right? But was it all just natural talent? Or was there like a master plan behind those medals?
It really was strategic, yeah.
Hmm.
Picture this, a system where they're scouting talent from the moment kids are, like lacing up their first pair of skates.
Okay, already intense.
Right. We're talking specialized sports schools, top-notch facilities, training regimens that were no joke. It was a whole other level of dedication.
Wow. So they weren't just creating athletes, they were like building a whole system.
Exactly. This wasn't just about winning medals. It was about building citizens who embodied Soviet ideals, discipline, resilience, the whole package.
So their athletic success, it was almost like a direct reflection of their national identity.
Totally. And no team embodies this more than the Red Machine.
Ah, yes. The legendary Soviet hockey team, just completely dominated for decades. What was it about their style of play that was so revolutionary?
They brought this whole new level of strategy and precision to the ice. It was like watching a perfectly choreographed ballet, but with, more body checks.
And those passes, it was all about speed, puck possession, constantly keeping the other team guessing.
Exactly. They completely changed the game.
And we can't forget those epic showdowns against the U.S., right? Cold War tensions playing out on the ice, the basketball.
The 72 Olympic basketball final, a game for the history books. Talk about a nail-biter. Went down to the wire, shrouded in controversy.
It's amazing how a single game can become this huge cultural moment. But when we talk Soviet sports, we've got to talk about the legends who emerged. Valery Kharlamov, for example. The guy was magic on the ice.
Pure skill, speed and agility, could weave through opponents like they were standing still.
A true artist. And then there was Lev Yashin, the Black Spider. A goalkeeper so good he won the Ballon d'Or, which, for anyone who doesn't follow football, is unheard of.
Like, completely unheard of. He redefined what it meant to be a goalkeeper. It wasn't just about shot stopping. He was like an extra defender, a field general directing the entire game from the back.
These athletes, they weren't just players, they were national heroes. Their victories on the world stage, it solidified the Soviet Union's image as the sports superpower. But of course, all dynasties eventually.
Fade.
Exactly. And in 1991, the Soviet Union itself dissolved. So what happened to this incredible sports machine when the nation that built it just ceased to exist?
It was a seismic shift, like yanking the rug out from under the entire system. State funding, which had always been so reliable, it vanished practically overnight.
Teams and athletes were left scrambling, huh? Trying to figure out this whole new world.
Absolutely. And it wasn't just about money. Imagine training your entire life under the Soviet system, that structure, that singular focus. Suddenly you've got contracts, agents, the freedom to go pro, to choose where you want to compete.
Did that lead to a lot of Russian athletes heading overseas?
It did, yeah. Top talent got lured away by big money offers, especially from North American and European leagues. It was a mixed bag, really. On the one hand, these athletes had the chance to test their skills against the best in the world, earn more. But for Russian teams, it was tough. They were losing some of their biggest stars.
Like a brain drain, almost.
Exactly. And hockey was hit particularly hard.
Which makes sense, right? Russia has always been hockey mad. What happened when those players started heading to the NHL?
Well, they didn't just sit back and accept defeat. Instead, they adapted. In 2008, they launched the Continental Hockey League, the KHL.
Okay, so their answer to the NHL, keep the talent at home.
Kind of. It was designed to be a world-class league,
Okay.
a rival to the NHL even. And it's been fascinating to see how it's evolved. They've got some key rule differences, like a larger ice surface, which encourages a faster, more free-flowing style of play.
So it's not just a carbon copy. There's some unique Russian flair to it.
Exactly.
Mm.
And it's been really successful in rebuilding Russian hockey. They're cultivating new stars, and the national team is still a force to be reckoned with on the world stage.
It's pretty incredible how they took this huge challenge and turned it into an opportunity. But it wasn't just hockey that had to adapt, was it?
Definitely not. Look at women's volleyball, for example. They were already a powerhouse during the Soviet era, but they've actually gotten even better.
They're always ranked among the top teams in the world. European championships, Olympic medals. It's impressive. What's the secret to their continued success?
Well, for one, they've kept that strong emphasis on youth development, honing those technical skills from a young age. But they've also evolved with the game, incorporated elements of speed and athleticism into their style, which has always been very technically sound and disciplined.
So they haven't just rested on their laurels, they've innovated, adapted to the times.
Exactly.
It's inspiring, to see how these teams and athletes have not only survived these massive changes, but thrived.
It really is a testament to their resilience.
But it hasn't been all smooth sailing, has it? I mean, there have been challenges too, right?
Yeah, unfortunately, the modern era has come with its own set of obstacles for Russian team sports. Some internal, some external. And those have definitely cast a bit of a shadow on their journey.
And those are some serious hurdles. I mean, the article talks about the political climate, the sanctions. It's got to be incredibly tough for athletes to be competing with all of that hanging over their heads.
It's been really, really difficult. For Russian athletes, the sanctions have meant travel restrictions, funding cuts, fewer chances to even train with international peers. It's isolating. And then you add the uncertainty of it all.
Right, like how long will this last? What's going to happen next?
Exactly. And of course, we can't ignore the elephant in the room, the doping scandals. Those have cast a long shadow over everything.
It's true. And it's a shame because those scandals end up hurting even the athletes who are completely clean and competing fairly.
It creates this cloud of suspicion, and it's hard to escape. It definitely hurts the reputation of Russian athletics on the world stage, and rebuilding trust takes time. A long time.
So where do they go from here? What does the future look like for Russian team sports given all of these challenges?
Despite everything, there are signs of hope. One thing that's really stood out to me is their focus on the next generation. They're still investing heavily in youth athletic development, these specialized sports schools.
So they're playing the long game, building from the ground up.
Yeah, and I think that's smart. They're nurturing young talent. But also, it's not just about athletic skill. They're emphasizing education, character development, teaching those values of teamwork and sportsmanship early on.
It's great that they're thinking about the whole athlete, not just wins and losses.
Exactly. And who knows, maybe this next generation, they'll be the ones to usher in a new era. An era defined by integrity, by resilience, and by incredible athletic achievements too.
Yeah. Now that would be something. A real testament to the enduring spirit of Russian sports.
For Deep Divers, we've covered a lot of ground today, from the strategic brilliance of the Soviet system to the challenges and the glimmers of hope on the horizon.
It's a fascinating story, and it's not over yet.
Not by a long shot. And if you want to learn more, be sure to check out the How to Russia article. We'll link it in the show notes. But for now, keep exploring, keep asking those tough questions, and we'll see you on our next deep dive.